Welcome to this tutorial about signals in Godot and Redot. Since signals work the same in both engines, it just makes sense to cover it together for both of them. So as for what this video will cover, first we're going to have a look at signals and connect them through the node inspector. That is especially important if you want to connect nodes that are in the same scene tree. And then we connect signals through code. And we will use here autoloads or singletons if you have already heard of them. This is especially interesting if you are instantiating a node and want to connect the signal to another node, or if your nodes are deeply nested in other scene trees and they have to reach far away nodes with the signals. What this video will not cover though is how we signal up the scene tree. While you can make it work, in my experience it's just way too annoying, and signals are perfect to use them in autoloads. Now I will leave timestamps at the bottom of this video so you can navigate easier through the sections of this video. Then let's jump right in. What you will be able to do today after finishing this tutorial is have collectibles that perceive the collision with the player and make them collectible, and also send a signal to our coins label, which is counting how many coins we have collected. Great, so we start out with these three elements. The first one is a player, the second one is a coin, and the third one is a label. What we want to do first is for the coin to detect whether the player is colliding with it or not. And that is made very simple through already predetermined signals that each node has. For example, if we have a look at the player and we go up here in the section on the right where it says node beside the inspector, you can see that our character body to D, which is the player, already has a few signals that you can connect to it. In the case of our coin, we have here different signals because that's an area to D, not a character body to D. For example, we can check if another area is entering the area of this coin. But what we can also check is if a body is entering this area, and our player is actually a character body. So we are here currently, and that is always important, in the scene tree of our main scene. You might be inside your own scene only with the coin, and you wouldn't see the character body or the label. It's important to always have an eye on in which scene you are currently in. Now from the main scene, what we could do is we select this body entered signal, and with double clicking we connect it to any node that we find in the same scene tree. I could connect it to my own node as well, and that's in fact what we are going to do, but just for the sake of showing, you can also connect it to any other node that holds a script, and it will create a function telling you from which node your signal is coming from and the name of the signal that is emitted. If we connect it to a player, for example, what we could easily do is, since we have the information in our scene tree, drag our coin over here and say that we delete this coin. Let's try this out real quick. We just move over this coin and plop, it disappears. Well, but it's a bit problematic. We don't want the player to handle the actions on the coin. Instead, I would rather have the coin handle the stuff himself. So if we go into our coin scene, one layer down, what I want to do is to handle the coin, all the actions that it has to handle, without knowing of any other node. If we take this body entered node and we connect it to our script for the coin, as you see, it auto-generates the same method, only that it's not saying on coin because it knows the signal comes from itself. And here I can do just the same. I can queue free my coin again, and we have the same effect, but the player does not have to know about the coin at all. Plop, there it goes. So that's how you can connect a signal from your inspector here in the scene tree by just double clicking and selecting where you want to connect it to. The node that you connect it to always has to have a script, or as you can see, I cannot connect it to it. So that covers the basic of how to connect a signal. What we can also do would be to write our own signal. Let's say we want to signal our label that we have actually collected a coin so that the label can update. I could then signal a coin collected signal and emit it whenever the body enters our area before we delete the coin. So we say coin collected dot emit, and this signal is being thrown out there. Once you declare a signal like this, you will find it in your signals list of this area as customized signal. If we go back to our main scene, where we have all other scenes inside, we can easily say from our coin scene, select our signal that we just defined, and we connect it to our label. And on our label, what we will do, or what we can do, is we have a simple coin count, which we start at 0. And then every time that we collect a coin, every time we receive the signal coin collected, then we want to adapt our text and showcase that we collected a coin. So we would say coin count is plus equals 1. And then our text will be coins collected. And then we have to use this integer, we make a string out of it, to display how many coins we collected. So coin count will be written inside of our string. We can try this out. We move over to a coin, and indeed we have connected the signal, and we can now collect as many coins as we want. If I duplicate this coin a few times, then we will see that we can now collect all of them, and we add up to our coin count. The problem arises though if not all of our coins are already instantiated or in the scene. What happens if we, for example, have a coin spawner, something that gradually brings us new coins to the scene? Now, with this method, with the approach that we have here, this will be a trouble, because I can collect the coin that we have put in the scene by hand. But if I collect all the other coins, I don't receive the signal that I want for my coin label. And this is the part where we come to use an autoload or singleton. To better understand autoloads or singletons, it is a script that is loaded at the beginning of the project, and it will persist until we close the project. So it does not have to do anything with scene changes. It's always there in our memory and waiting to be called on. We can create such a singleton, which is also called as a global script or autoload. If we go into a file system, we just right click anywhere and we create a new script. This script is not added to any other node, but it's just existing in our scene folder. And I will call this signals. I create it and I right click on it to copy its path. After I did that, I go into my project and into my project settings, where you can see that we have a few tabs here on the top, and we go to globals. In globals, we paste in the path that we just copied, and in the node name, we give it the name of our script that we just created, and then we hit add. If you have a pop-up asking you to create a new script, then you probably have the wrong path or name of your node. Now that we have our now that we have our autoload, be sure that it's enabled so that it's loaded whenever the project is starting. Then we can close this window again. And if we go to our scripts and we double click on our signals, we now have a global script that we can use everywhere in our project. I advise you to not use it extensively for global variables. That can get very messy very easily, but for signals, it's like a perfect fit. And we can declare a new signal here. We call it coin collected and just leave it as is. Save this, and then we move over to our coin, delete the signal that we had previously set up here, and you will see that he automatically throws us an error. We have to tell him where he has to call this coin collected signal from. And that is by our script that we just created, called signals. Then we give him a dot, and then he already knows that it's coin collected, the signals that we can use from there. Now that we emit this signal, if we now go over to our coin label, we will have to tell him that he expects to get or receive a signal whenever a coin is collected. And here is how we connect a signal via code. So here we will do the connection of the signal as soon as coin label is loaded into our world. We do it by, again, say signals and hit the dot. We have the signal that we want to collect to. First, we have to mention where is the signal that we want to connect to. We have to name the signal that we want it to connect to. And then we have to say simply connect and open some brackets. In here, we have to put the name of the function that we want to connect it to. For simplicity's sake, I will rename this function to update label. And I will give it the name of update label. Please note that it should not have any brackets here. It is not a function call, but rather what it is, it's a callable. A callable is just saying the name of the function that should be called. Having done this, if we go back to our scene and we press play again, even our coins spawned by our environment node should now be collectible and add to our coins collected counter. And indeed, it does. So we set up the project like this. Our player that does not know anything about the coin's label or the coin is just wandering around the scene. Once it collides with a coin, the coin detects that it has collided with a body. That's a signal that he receives himself and then emits a different signal that is sitting on our signals script that is in the background. Then the signal that is emitted goes out into the wild and our coins label catches that signal, also not knowing anything about a coin or a player, and he just updates his own text. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe, and I hope I see you in the next one.